On the line with us is Eric Havian. He is an attorney for Common Cause, commoncause.org, of course, the website. Eric, welcome back to the program, or welcome to the program.
Thank you, Tom.
Great to have you with us. What's the latest with ALEC, the American Legislative Exchange Council, this right-wing front group for big corporations that's so heavily funded by the Koch brothers?
Well, for years, ALEC's been getting away with claiming to be an educational charity, and in fact is simply nothing more than a lobbying organization, as you mentioned, for right-wing conservative causes. And Common Cause has called them out, reported them to the IRS, and asked the IRS to undertake an investigation and an examination and to deny ALEC 501c3 nonprofit status, and also to go after the corporations who have been deducting their lobbying expenses when they make contributions to ALEC. They claim they're making charitable contributions, and the taxpayers are essentially footing the bill. This is taxpayer-subsidized lobbying, which is against the rules and violates the Internal Revenue Code.
It's amazing. ALEC, of course, having brought us not only a whole raft of laws that make it easier for companies to pollute and whatnot, but also the Stand Your Ground, Shoot First law, and also the voter. You want to vote? But you're a student? No, you can't. That ID is no good. Oh, you want to vote, but you're 80 years old? No, sorry, you got to drive down to the driver's license bureau. You want to vote? You're disabled. You can't leave your home. Sorry, you can't vote. They're in charge of those laws too, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's a number of. They have a lot of social legislation, although they. In response to the pressure by Common Cause and their some of their corporate funders pulling the plug, they've now shut down supposedly their social agenda, and they're strictly focusing on putting more money into the pockets of their corporate donors.
Right, after they've already gotten this in place in over 20 states. Just for our listeners who may not know, we're talking with Eric Havian. He is an attorney with Common Cause, commoncause.org, if you want to check out their website and support the work that they're doing. While we often associate the Koch brothers with ALEC, the American Legislative Exchange Council, they didn't actually found it. It was started by a fellow by the name of Paul Weyrich. I'm guessing you're familiar with this, Eric.
That's correct.
And Paul Weyrich was a strategist for Ronald Reagan. And I'd like to play, if I may have your permission to take 20 seconds out of this interview.
Absolutely.
Here is Paul Weyrich in 1980 speaking to a group of Republicans who were working on behalf of Ronald Reagan in a church, Republican Christian activists. And you can hear the echo of this modern-day voter disenfranchisement legislation. This is Paul Weyrich from 30 years ago.
Now, many of our Christians have what I call the goo-goo syndrome, good government. They want everybody to vote. I don't want everybody to vote. Elections are not won by a majority of people. They never have been from the beginning of our country, and they are not now. As a matter of fact, our leverage in the elections, quite candidly, goes up as the voting populace goes down.
That's the founder of ALEC.
Yeah, well, that pretty much sums up their attitude toward a number of these issues that they pursue. And what I think is very troubling for Common Cause is not just their politics. It's that they are having taxpayers pay to have these kinds of laws lobbied. And so, if Exxon goes into some politician's office on Capitol Hill and they say, hey, I'd like to sit down and write some great tax legislation with you, and let's get Exxon some tax breaks. Well, that's lobbying. Exxon can't deduct that from their taxes. But if they have exactly the same conversation on a beach someplace at an ALEC junket, now Exxon's going to write that off and say, well, I was actually, those expenses were charitable contributions.
Well, and not only that, various states spend hundreds of thousands of dollars a year sending largely Republican legislators to these ALEC junkets where they sit on the beach and write legislation with the ExxonMobil lobbyists.
That's absolutely right, and claim that they're doing charity work and educational work, and it's really just absurd for ALEC to take that position. Their lawyer says all they do is research and analysis, nonpartisan research and analysis. Well, you just look at their bylaws, and that's completely false. Their bylaws say that their goal is to develop a legislative action agenda. It's not research and analysis; it's action, and that's really what they've been doing.
Now, we've been seeing largely since the Reagan administration, but aggressively since the first George Bush administration, when he put his son in charge of reaching out to the evangelical Christian community, and they started organizing, and Jerry Falwell and all that whole crowd, came about in the late 80s and early 90s. And then it really went on steroids through the George W. Bush administration, the politicization of religion, basically of religious organizations, which are equally tax exempt. And the IRS has been pretty wary about pulling anybody's tax exempt status, even when they, right from the pulpit, they call for particular types of votes. What makes you think that the IRS might suddenly start enforcing the law after, it seems to me, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, I mean, I may be way off, but it seems to me like for decades, nonprofit organizations have been getting away with this kind of stuff.
Well, there are certain organizations, sometimes they're religious organizations that essentially engage in a lot of political activity under the rubric of advancing their religious beliefs. The IRS has been nervous about going after them. That's true. I think they are worried about the political hornet's nest they may stir up. But we think ALEC is a bit different because it's not just that you have a nonprofit that is engaged in political activity. You have corporations here that are advancing corporate agendas and deducting. It's not like you have some people in a congregation that are making donations to their church and taking the deduction, and then the church goes out and does some political work. This is really a corporation that is using ALEC as a way to make tax-deductible lobbying contributions. And so that's what I think is a lot different.
This is a money laundering operation.
Exactly. That is just what this is. It is money laundering. It is taxpayer-subsidized lobbying by corporations. That's who the contributors to ALEC are, not like, individuals, mom and pop, That's not who it is.
It's AT&T. So when I pay my phone bill, if I have AT&T, part of my bill is going to ALEC. And when I'm paying my taxes, my taxes are higher than they would have been if ALEC wasn't there. If AT&T actually had to do non-tax deductible lobbying.
That's right. You're getting the double whammy. If you're paying for the services of these corporations, and you're a taxpayer, you're getting hit twice.
I'm getting screwed twice. Let's call it what it is. This is
and it really it's kind of an outrage. And I do think the IRS, where you have corporations who are deducting hundreds of thousands of dollars in contributions from their taxes, as opposed to some member of a congregation that's going to deduct their, $50 donation.
Right.
That's going to make a difference to the IRS.
Yeah. So where is, we have just a minute left here, Eric. Where is this right now?
Well, there's a very formalized process that the IRS has for these whistleblower submissions. There's a screening that goes on. They'll see if it passes kind of the initial look to make sure it looks credible and persuasive. And then if so, it'll be sent out to the field for the examiners to do an audit. They tend to go very slowly and methodically, so we may not see any results for the next few years. But ALEC and the corporations who are being audited by the IRS, they're going to know. And it may be that some information comes out when they report them being under examination.
I'm looking forward to that. Eric Havian with Common Cause, an attorney for Common Cause, commoncause.org, one of the great organizations doing great work here in the United States, well worthy of your support. Eric, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you, Tom.
Keep up the great work. This is spectacular. We'll be right back.